We're running a little bit behind. Our next session is Sustainable Economic Development in Sarasota County, and let's welcome our speakers. Mark Huey joined the Economic Development Corporation of Sarasota County as President and CEO in June of this year. He's only been here 3 months. The EDC is the public-private partnership working with the community and regional partners to create and foster economic growth and diversity. Our other speaker is Lisa Damschroder, and she's a fiscal consultant in the Office of Financial Planning, Sarasota County, and her current focus is on special projects and economic development. Let's welcome our speakers, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good to be with you. I'm again Mark Huey, new guy in town, all of 3 months here. And excited to be with you this morning when I think in one of my first meetings with the county, they had asked if I would come and visit with you this morning, and I said, well, I'm absolutely brand new and I'm not sure what I have to offer an audience that's been committed to this cause for so long in Sarasota County, but because it's important to me and the work that we do, I want to be here with you. And hopefully during the Q&A I'll get a chance to learn a little bit from you as well about the things that you've been a part of. I've already enjoyed doing a little bit of that as I've been here this morning. A lot of the themes of your conversation that you were just having are themes I'm familiar with from my previous work. I'm coming here from Tampa, where I was heading up economic development for the city of Tampa. And in that work, involved with the University of South Florida and a lot of other regional assets and trying to understand the green market and economic development opportunities. And I'll touch on that in a minute. How many of you are familiar with the Economic Development Corporation, first of all? Anybody have a pretty good feel for that? We are a public-private partnership that wakes up every day trying to figure out how to grow and diversify the economy of Sarasota County. We do that by trying to build a big tent. We're small in staff with a very big vision, a very big mission, and we know we can only accomplish that by doing things like you're about today, bringing a lot of smart people together in a room and really coming up with the best ideas possible and then helping get those ideas executed. So we're very much all about that, bringing the best talent in our community to the very difficult challenge. And because of the economic conditions that we confront today, no mystery to any of us, it's really unprecedented challenges. But how do we face that? And how do we continue to grow our economy? A variety of services that we offer. We work with inbound companies to help attract them to our community and to help them through regulatory hurdles, incentives, other things that might be important in making sure they come here. We work with growing companies. We work with entrepreneurs in a variety of ways to provide services and support to help them grow their businesses. We work in an environment of short-term and long-term. We are focused every day on the short-term opportunities right in front of us. And again, especially in an economic environment like we face today, every company that we have a chance to work with to create jobs for our community is front and center. So we are all about managing projects, managing opportunities right in front of us. This year, we closed 16 projects, 16 different companies, a wide variety of industries, some in this space of sustainable development, sustainable green business, but a variety of industries. And they represented about 1,200 jobs, a commitment to create 1,200 jobs and $65 million in capital investment for our community. It was a good year for the Economic Development Corporation in that regard. Then we have a strategic plan. So we've got the short term, and we're working in the long term. We have a strategic plan, and I'm going to touch on that in just a moment, that is really trying to look ahead at where are the places that we can grow jobs in our community long term. A little bit about me and my background. I come from an interesting career, a diverse career, ranging from being in the private sector real estate development business. That's where I started my career. I worked for a company that actually was a leader in green development before anybody knew what green development was all about. Our company was actually the first company to ever developer in the state of Florida to win an award from the Audubon Society for outstanding development. It was for, are you all familiar with the Hyatt Regency near the airport in Tampa? Yes. We did reclamation of freshwater salt, what had been a saltwater marsh turned into a freshwater brackish pond, and we reclaimed it, and it was quite an environmental success story. I spent about 12 years with that company doing projects like the Hyatt Regency there, the Carillon development where Raymond James is headquartered, and was, again, part of a great team doing high-quality development projects. Then I switched gears a little bit, got involved in the nonprofit arena, worked for 2 different organizations in our community that were in the homeless and affordable housing arena. And then most recently, spent the last 8 years in the public sector, working for the mayor of Tampa, and again engaged in a lot of discussions like you were having today, as well as doing our city's redevelopment work in our downtown, Channel District, Ybor City, those of you who know Tampa, all of those parts of our redevelopment work. And then part of our team recruiting jobs and growing businesses in Tampa. So I've been in the private sector, public, not-for-profit arena, and in the public sector. And it equips me well to come into this environment of economic development because it takes all the sectors working together. I think that was the theme in the last panel, wasn't it? That is we're looking to grow the green business area, the clean tech business area. It's going to take all of the sectors working together to do that. And I bring a good background in that way. One of the things that attracted me to Sarasota County was this, you have a great legacy of commitment to sustainable culture. And I have been familiar with that from my work in Tampa. And when I was made aware of the opportunity and the privilege to come and be the president of the Economic Development Corporation, and I had the chance to dig deeper into the limited but impressive information I had, it really impressed me that the legacy of activity that occurred here. Sarasota County was green before it was cool to be green, wasn't it? You really have been pioneers, both in a business, public policy standpoint, and I know in Tampa we were trying to catch up to a lot of things that you all had been doing for quite some time, and I was aware of that. And we had our own success stories and things we were working on, but we hadn't yet really gotten to the point where it was becoming part of our economic development vision. And that is what I saw happening here. It was exciting because I do think, even though the recession has dealt a blow to not just this industry area, all industries, that clean tech, green technology is going to be part of our economic development future as a global economy, national economy, and I believe it can be a very significant part of our local economy. And so to be able to come to a community who's really been at the forefront of that and to really learn what has been happening here and what is taking hold and the kind of success stories and the things that haven't worked out in the area of green technology, green business development, and sustainability. It's exciting for me, and so I'm glad to be here and have a chance to, again, in this early stage. I've just crested 3 months here. I'm really spending a lot of time listening and learning at this point, and really enjoying that. Our strategic plan, how are you all familiar with the strategic plan of the Economic Development Corporation? Hands raised, any? Okay. It is accessible on our website, and we'll make sure everybody has information to get you to that. This is a plan that was put in place 2.5 years ago, and in fact, some of you all participated in creating the plan. And I see one hand, couple. Okay, so about 6 people. It was a plan, as I wasn't around when it was created, but it was intended to create a lot of community engagement. And again, big tent, bring the best ideas, best talent to the table. That plan, the intention of the plan was, again, what economic developers are trying to do is that while we're sort of like, I don't know, maybe surfing, maybe is a good analogy. Good surfers, part of the art of it is they're able to kind of look out on the water and figure out when there's a swell of the wave that's coming. And I don't quite understand it, how they develop that talent and ability, but that's what economic developers try to do too. We're, as much as we're trying to work with day-to-day companies that are growing, we're also got our eye out from what are the trends that can help our community to grow. And this whole area of clean tech, green tech, is one of those ways that, and we're not alone in that. There are communities all around the country, aren't there, who are looking at the same waters we are and trying to anticipate the same way that we are and how it can help their community. And the strategic plan that was done and put in place 2.5, I think, was a lot of people trying to look at that wave and understand it more deeply than just a broad category of opportunity. Get more specific. What is it about that potential wave that can help our local economy? There were 4 places that they felt we might have some competitive advantage relative to other communities who are trying to catch the same wave. And that's the art of economic development, is what really can differentiate us? What is unique about Sarasota County that we can use to grow jobs? 4 areas came up. Aquaculture with Moat Marine. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Water management, water and the wastewater market and technologies associated with that, and renewable energy. Those were the 4 broad categories of industry areas that the plan identified that we would focus on. And so a team came together, a variety of volunteers around that since the plan was created. And there have been 3 initiatives in that platform and 1 initiative outside it that I think is important, which I'll talk to in a minute. The 3 are the aquaculture industry in Moat Marine. How many of you have been to see the aquaculture park? I haven't. I've been to Moat Marine Laboratory, but I haven't been to the aquaculture park yet. I'm doing that next week and looking forward to it. But I have already been engaged on this item because I think it is maybe our best short-term opportunity, at least that in my short time here, I've found has traction and the ability to be implemented in a relatively short time. And the idea there is that has traction is the University of South Florida and Moat Marine jointly won an economic development grant to build an incubator at Moat Marine. How many of you were aware of that? Okay, a few people. This is exciting because what the incubator is proposing to do is much more than aquaculture. Aquaculture is actually a small part of it. What the University of South Florida realized, and researchers at the University of South Florida, is that not only is the aquaculture side of the park exciting and have potential business opportunities, but the aquaculture park creates a very unique environment, water environment, that you cannot replicate easily. and provides a wonderful ground for research on all kinds of water-related technologies. Many of them which will not particularly relate to the aquaculture part, but it's because it creates a very unique environment of a water resource and an environment in which that resource is in. It provides a testing ground for lots of interesting technologies that can lead to business development. So the idea is to create a place where entrepreneurs, local entrepreneurs in our community, and hopefully there's some of you out here in the room, who are developing ideas that need to be tested in the kind of water environment that they have, can be tested with the support of USF researchers and other business development resources that can help take that idea to the marketplace. So a very exciting opportunity. The grant is in place to build it. Work is being done by USF, by Moog Marine to create that opportunity, put it in a position to move forward. The goal would be for it to open, as I understand, in 2013. So great opportunity there under the aquaculture. Then the last panel that you had, that panel came out of the strategic plan. That was one of the things that was identified, that if we are going to be a community that has economic development opportunities for green tech and sustainability, we needed an educational system that was supporting the development of talent to resource those opportunities. So one of the recommendations that came out of the plan was to put in place the programs that you're now hearing about. So it was fortuitous in that timing, and the work that has gone on by USF, by Ringling College as well. I don't think they were part of your panel, but they have some programs as well going on, have been part of the work that came out of the strategic plan to support sustainable systems as an economic development opportunity. Lastly, there's an initiative around green redevelopment and retrofit. So in the real estate development side, how can we do eco-friendly development and create business opportunities in that arena? So that's a little bit about what's happening on that front and with that part of our strategic plan. There are 3 strategic platforms, they were called in our strategic plan, and this is one of them. This area that we're talking about is one of those opportunities. So one of the others is, I think, also relevant to what we're trying to do here. One of the other platforms is called the aging platform. And essentially what it was trying to say is that traditionally in economic development, an older population is not something that's an asset. It kind of works to your disadvantage when you're recruiting companies. But the leadership that came around the development of the strategic plan said, well, wait a minute, maybe it's actually an asset to us. And what they observed is, what we all know, is that globally our demographics are aging, and that Sarasota County sort of reflects the way the rest of the world is going to look in a couple of decades. And so why can't we be the place where new services, new technologies are developed to serve an aging demographic? And we can be that place that then can export those to other communities as their demographic begins to reflect our demographic. The reason I mention this is because part of that platform and the work that's going on is it's called silver entrepreneurship. Our community has an amazing amount of entrepreneurs that come here and come to retire here and find out they don't really want to retire and they would like to continue to develop businesses. How can we do more of that? Part of what I believe we need to have a thriving green tech, clean tech industry cluster here. that's contributing jobs to our local economy is to encourage more silver entrepreneurship. So that's another aspect of what we're working on in our long-range planning that I think will support nicely the kind of work that is going on to support clean tech and green tech businesses. So those are just some of my initial observations as I'm getting my feet on the ground, some of the work that's going on, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to learn from you, learn from the business community who's engaged in this area. I haven't had a lot of time to do that yet. I actually haven't yet had a chance to attend one of our sustainable systems, sustainable platform team meetings. But I am, again, very excited about the opportunity to come alongside business leaders who are working in this area and seeing how we can work together, business sector, our organization, the public sector, to grow jobs out of this cluster over time. So that concludes my comments. And Lisa, I think you're next, and I look forward to.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Damschroder. Sorry, learning new technology here. My name is Lisa Damschroder. I'm with the Office of Financial Planning for Sarasota County. And as the announcer stated, I work specifically on special projects and economic development. So I'm going to talk a little bit about sustainable economic development from the county perspective. The county has made economic development a priority. We've implemented several incentives to help businesses stay here, relocate here, and expand here. Some of the examples include the Economic Development Ad valorem tax exemption, which provides up to 100% and 10 years of an ad valorem tax exemption for qualifying businesses. In April of 2009, the Board of County Commissioners put aside some money for an economic development incentive program. We do local support for qualified target industry, 20%, and we have expedited permitting for green design projects. And then the two that I'm going to really focus on today are global urban development and the energy economic zone. So the question is, how can sustainability become a driver for innovation and wealth creation? And for a lot of people, they'll see economic development and wealth creation and sustainability as being opposition, when we see that there can be some synergy there where we can have sustainable economic development. Growing the Sarasota County sustainable economy. As I mentioned, Global Urban Development was a group of consultants that we hired to help the county develop a sustainable economic development strategy. They made 7 recommendations for implementation, and each of these recommendations are intended to stand on their own, but they're best thought of as a synergistic parts of an integrated strategy. The recommendations were based on over 60 interviews, as well as 4 full weeks of visits to Sarasota County. And I think some of you actually probably were on the panel being interviewed. And it focused on sustainable economic development that makes the market an ally in producing economic prosperity. And the county right now is working with partners, the EDC, one of them, Gulf Coast Community Foundation, to identify the priorities and the next steps. So the strategy and recommendations, the context. Obviously, we're an environment where we've historically relied on tourism and construction, so we need to really diversify our economic development. We need to change the climate, the business climate, from being unfriendly. That's what our regulatory study was saying, that we're not business friendly. We need to change that climate, and we need political consensus. The strategic assumptions that went into the plan. There is an authentic sustainability branding opportunity here in the county. It's about, as Mark had mentioned, it's about attracting entrepreneurial talent, and particularly green entrepreneurial talent. We have some catching up to do on the basics, but we have some really great assets to build on. And it will require some political consensus, and it's not going to happen overnight. We're going to have to be in it for the long haul. So we made 7 recommendations. The first is to initiate a business development network, expand the green business partnership, establish a clean tech support infrastructure, launch a green energy park, innovate eco-smart development, organize green talent, and formulate a communication strategy. And we're not going to go over all of them today. I'm going to go over just a few, and the ones that we really have some momentum behind. So there's 2 kinds of sustainable economy businesses. Clean tech and green businesses. I'm sure most of you are familiar. Clean tech is it's a business that produces a green product. whereas a green business is a business that just manages their business in a green way. So it could be a hotel that's LEED certified, or any type of business that runs itself green. What we learned from GOOD, and I'm sorry if I use acronyms, we use them all the time in the county, Global Urban Development, we call it GOOD, was that they helped us define some clean technology sectors. You can see them up there. The ones that are in the middle are what they termed as the priority sectors. And the reason why they termed these the priority sectors is because they saw that here in Sarasota County, we kind of already started to have legs, work with those. We've really got some momentum behind those. So those are our priority sectors at this point. So the important thing is to turn strength into opportunities. We obviously have a great climate, subtropical vacation and retirement paradise. We have a great art and design culture coast. And we have high growth entrepreneur energy. So what we need to do is to harness all of this and really attract and retain and support not just entrepreneurs, but clean tech and green entrepreneurs. Again, just a list of the different recommendations. The first that we're really working on right now with the Economic Development Corporation, the EDC, and the Gulf Coast Community Foundation is this business development network. And the idea behind this is to kind of have a business concierge service. So you have somebody who's starting out here and wants to start a business. We want to be able to help them through that process. We've got a clean tech support infrastructure. We don't really have a critical mass in any clean tech subcluster, but we're working towards it. Green business partnership expansion. And I'm just kind of going through it quickly because I'd rather leave some time for the question and answer. I believe you guys are going to get a copy of the PowerPoint, so we don't need to read through the bullets, but just some key actions here. Expand the marketing and staffing of the Green Business Partnership. Set the goal, and this was something that Huey had stated, that we could become the highest rated per capita certified green businesses. And that'd be something to really market and get some more entrepreneurs here. We have eco-smart development in the EEZ, which is the Energy Economic Zone. And a communication strategy, which is probably the most important. We can have all these assets as a county, but if we don't communicate it to our existing businesses, but also to businesses from other areas, there's no point in having this. We really need to develop a strong communication strategy. The next project that we're really working on is the Energy Economic Zone pilot program. And Sarasota County and the City of Miami Beach were the two chosen by the state in an application process. There's some state requirements. We're working on that right now. We're developing an ordinance, which is to be adopted by March 1st of 2012. And what the EEZ represents is the potential for some incentives for businesses that will locate in what we'll term as the Energy Economic Zone, and they'll get some incentives for being green. Some of the incentives available, there are enterprise zone life incentives, priority ranking for state energy grants, timeline, with some guidance with the board October 26th, community input between October and December, and we'll be looking to you a lot for that community engagement. Advertise for ordinance in December and January, and then do a public hearing and adopt an ordinance to begin in February. It's important to just note that the EEZ and some of the recommendations that we made, the relationship to other incentives, the ad valorem tax exemption, the economic incentive program, and then the state incentives. And so what the county is trying to do is work with the EDC to kind of build these into a package to really lure businesses here, especially green businesses. Oh, sorry. Again, technology. So really, the most important point is that Sarasota County has really been aggressive in this pursuit of creating sustainable economic development. The more recent focus on rural urban development and the EEZ initiatives can help position us as an economic leader in the nation. Again, as a subtropical paradise, we've got a diversified economy. We've got the never retirees, as Mark mentioned. They value the environment and the quality of life provided by the county, which allows us to successfully attract, retain, and support clean tech and green business. the region has the key assets to become what we would term prosperity paradise. And the most important thing is just to align these assets around a common vision, set of messages, and implementation strategy. And that's, I think, where we look to this group to really help communicate a lot of the assets that we have and the programs that can really help businesses grow here.
Many people relocate themselves, their families, their businesses, or they start businesses in Sarasota County because through the process of tourism and visiting us maybe annually, they fall in love with the community and they lay a strategy to somehow relocate here and have their own version of prosperity and paradise. If somebody would click on the Sarasota County Tourism website, is there anything there that talks about Sarasota County being the greenest county in the state and all the sustainable initiatives that different people take on in our community?
I don't know if Mark could better answer. That's managed by the Sarasota County Visitors and Convention Bureau. Is that it? Sarasota County Visitor and Convention Bureau. At this point, I wouldn't be able to answer 100%. That's an important point to make, and that's what we talked about with the communication strategy. And that's what we're really working together with the EDC to make sure, because like I said, we can have all these assets, but if it's not known to existing businesses and businesses from other states and other counties, it does no good. So that's something that we're really focused on, really working, again, with the EDC and with our communication staff to make sure that it does get the word out there, because we do have some great programs, and we are very innovative and forward-thinking, and we just need to get that communicated. So it's a very good point, and I saw Mark write some notes down, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you have to look for it on our website, so which is a good thing. So we're in the process of updating our economic development organization website. That would be one of the things that we explore is how to begin to create that brand. Appreciate your observation. And incidentally, one of them, we just announced a relocation, just like a company called 5D Composite, Canadian, privately owned company. They have been vacationing here for over a decade, and he got tired of getting on the plane and going home. And so he didn't move his whole company here, but he moved a portion of it. I think it's 120 jobs or so of our community. And it's just one more of those stories, and there's hundreds of them, aren't there? Companies who get here that way. We got to get better in general about cultivating those opportunities.
Sorry, my name is Phil Peters. I'm I'm a green building consultant here in Sarasota and active with the local chapter of the U.S. Green Building Council. One of the observations by the consulting team was that there is a historic perception of negative business climate. Could you give some examples of any particular regulations or requirements that are particularly onerous to business here in Sarasota County that need to be rethought or eliminated?
I'll wade into that if I could, because this is it, and you'll appreciate this. When I was called about the job opportunity that I accepted, a friend of mine who was very familiar with Sarasota County called me about it, and he was very excited. He goes, "Mark, this is something you really need to look at. There's a lot of cool things happening there. You really need to look into it. I think there's a good fit for you there." And you know what my immediate reaction was? I said, I won't share his name, but I said, I go down to Sarasota. I love taking friends down there when they're in town. We hang out in St. Armand. We go to Main Street. It's a great scene. I love it. But they don't want to grow there, do they? Isn't that? I thought Sarasota doesn't want to grow. And I really didn't have any detailed information. but I had an impression. And where did I get that impression? Again, I'm from Tampa. I hang out with lots of developers, lots of real estate attorneys, and that's what I had heard. I mean, I've heard people say that the worst projects they've ever tried to complete are projects they tried to do in Sarasota. So there's no specific I can't speak, I don't know enough about specific regulations yet to tell you, but what it is more of an attitude. Again, I used to oversee the city of Tampa's all of our regulatory departments. And, regulations are important. They're a good thing. They're what help you create a quality community. But if you're always leaning backwards in the regulatory environment instead of leaning forward, you develop a reputation as a community of someone who's a community who isn't open to receiving business investment. And I can tell you that this community has that reputation. Now, having said that, I can tell you I'm impressed, and I wouldn't have come here had I not seen changes happening in that. Balance changes. Again, I'm not someone who, remember sort of my background, I'm someone who believes in good regulations, that they're important to creating a quality community. But I'm also believe, and I think especially in the economy moving forward, what we all have to understand is the days of stuff just showing up, it's not going to happen again. We're in I think collectively, everyone believes we're going to be in a very different world, very different competitive environment. And so to grow green tech businesses here and green industries, we're going to have to create the image of being a community that is welcoming investment like that and helping entrepreneurs grow in our community in that way. And that's going to take a mind shift, but I see it happening. I'm very impressed with what's been going on in the county, the way that they have consolidated all of their business development services into one building under solid leadership, and other things that the Board of County Commissioners is doing to communicate to the business community that we want investment, we want to see businesses grow. All of the things Lisa talked about, the new incentives, all of those things are, and the word, it's getting, the word is out there that now the issue will be, our theme today is it's sustaining. And I think that's going to be the challenge for all of us who care about economic development and creating a healthy, in the way I talk about what we're about. I think that the recession has shown, one of the other things I love about Sarasota County is the civic pride here. Everybody loves this community and everyone's contributed so much to creating the place that it is today. And the economic downturn has pointed out a flaw, though, hasn't it? Our unemployment rate has tracked 2 to 3% higher than the state of Florida, higher than the country. And the impact on our community has been disproportional. So the flaw is we've got a lot of good things going on, but our economy is not healthy. And so let's figure out how to fix that. And this issue of becoming a community that leans forward instead of backwards in attracting quality investment to our community is hugely important for us going forward and creating a healthy economy in Sarasota County.
I think we'll make this our last question before a break.
Do you have any mechanism for entrepreneurs to grants or help with provisional patent writing and business plan writing in the sustainable area?
The question had to do with grants, specifically grants. Do we have grants?
Provisional patents. I don't care about grants for another paper.
Yeah. No, our organization does not fund grants really for anything in particular. So the county may want to talk about this. They provide funding and incentives. What we do is we try to help entrepreneurs figure out how that they need to patent technologies and to connect them with resources that can help them do that. So our role is more in helping network with existing resources out there, both free and sometimes private resources.
I mean, we do have the Economic Incentive Grant Program, which is basically, we provide grants to companies. It's always tied to job creation and innovation. So, it kind of depends on what type of business you are and whether, I think what the county is really looking at doing is, we want to get jobs here locally. But, if you're interested in learning more about the program, you contact the EDC, and then they work together with the county on determining whether or not, a particular project would qualify for the incentive grant program.
I think we needed to make that our last question. I'm sorry, we're running behind. So if you have a question, do you mind asking the speakers afterwards? Yeah, thank you.